We want to thank Sideline Interactive indoor scoring tables and video boards for their support. Go to sidelineinteractive.com and see what their fantastic products can do for you. They not only raise money for your department, but they also create the ultimate game day experience for your student athletes. That's sidelineinteractive.com, or email them at sales@sidelineinteractive.com for more information. We also want to say thanks to Wall of Fame by Vital Signs. You know, they've got a mission to bring your school's legacy to life. They've got a variety of interactive touchscreen video consoles and an entire library of templates to help recognize the athletic achievements of your students, both past and present. Let them help you showcase your school's diverse history and your proudest moments, and go to vitalsignswalloffame.com. You can also email them at sales@vitalsignswalloffame.com for more information. That's sales@vitalsignswalloffame.com. Let them help you bring your school's legacy to life. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Team Building Tips on the Educational AD Podcast. Every Thursday, Dan Talbot, Certified Master Athletic Administrator, shares a team building tip with us. Dan's the Senior Director of Athletics for the Polk County School System in Florida. He's a longtime athletic director in our state, very active at both the state and national level. Dan, what do you have for us on episode number 14?
Well, it kind of ties back to what I just talked to last week. Basically, effective hiring practices. I mean, that's the biggest, one of our biggest jobs as athletic directors is finding the right people in the right jobs, and basically for the kids. I mean, and I know all the cliches is, it's just golf, or it's just tennis, and find a warm body. But that you're not doing right by kids when you do that. The idea is to go out to find the best person that fits your mission and vision of the athletic department. And you got to understand that if you don't have a mission or vision, then how do you know what you're looking for when you're hiring someone? I mean, that's the struggle most people make, is people are just looking to fill the position as quickly as possible. But when you're looking to hire someone, just go back to the simple fact that, are they good for kids? And if they are, then hire them. You may not get along. There's certainly a lot of, county athletic directors in the state of Florida that I certainly don't get along with. But they do a good job, and they're good for their counties, and they're good for their kids. Just because our personalities don't mesh 100% where I'd want to hang out with them on a daily basis, doesn't mean they're not good people. And I think when you're hiring people, a lot of people, it's always funny, is especially like I'm involved in countless football interviews, and I love it when I get these manuals that these coaches write, and first of all, I know they probably didn't write them, because trust me, I did the same thing when I hired. I mean, I read one 15 years later that I wrote 15 years prior. It was the one I wrote. And it's interesting. So anytime that someone turns, one of those books in, I kind of go off this school of the questions, because you got to have your list of questions that you're going to have. I always go off, and I turn open to a page and say, what's your philosophy on this? And you'll be amazed at how many times that you get a different answer from a coach than you did that's in the book. And that is concerning. You can give me a list of references, and that's fine. But I encourage you, when you're hiring a coach or you're hiring an athletic director, we all put the people down that we know are going to say the good things about us. So as the hiring manager, call schools that played them. Hey, you played against, so-and-so high school, how was that? He goes, and they're going to tell you a lot, how their team behaved, were they respectful, or if it's an athletic director, how, Oh, it was great. A warm, welcoming, inviting. We got emails prior to the game on, hey, this is a blessed place to park. Best time to show up. Call me when you get here. When the bus arrived, an equipment guy showed up in a John Deere Gator, helped us unload our equipment. Well organized. You can get a lot from just calling around to people that either have been to a venue, that athletic director is in charge and in running, or someone that coach has coached against, something like that. They're going to tell you the truth. The people on the references, I always find it funny that, especially with HR processes and procedures, that we got to call all the references. Well, we know the references are going to be good. You know, one thing I try to do is find at least one or two people that's not on that reference list that knows that person, has coached against them, or has and attended a game at their gym on a basketball night or a football night where that AD was in charge, to just get a feel of what that person really is and how they do the job. So when you're hiring people, try to find some people that have coached against them, have been to their school, or how are they on the road, because you can learn a lot. Because it really goes back to a buddy of mine, and I thought it was just most unbelievable. So a buddy of mine interviewed with John Gruden of the Tampa Bay Bucks as a DB coach, and he was in town, so he called. So him and I were getting together, and after the interview, I was like, "How'd it go?" He goes, "Man, it was interesting." I'm like, "Really?" He goes, "So, well, walk me through it, because I always want to hear, the hiring process and what coaches do." And he said that we came in and we talked cover two and Tampa 2 coverage and sky cloud, all this different stuff, and he said how the Bucks run it, so he repeated it back to him, hey, so how do we run this? And he got up on the board, and then they're just sitting there talking, can two guys coexist in the same building, and then he said all of a sudden, equipment manager guy runs in and says, "Hey, what size shoe you wear, shorts you wear, t-shirt, shoe, hat, visor, which one you want?" And then the equipment manager ran out, came running back, and gave him a whole stack of clothes, and Coach Gruden's like, "Put it on, let's see how it fits. Let's walk around." So he's got all the Tampa Bay Bucks gear on. He's excited, and he's walking around the facilities. "Let's see how you look. Let's see how you feel. Let's walk around. Let's get a tour." And they go around the facility. Well, then they go in the back, and they go out in the back doors to the practice facility, and there's like 8 guys out there. And Coach Gruden looks right at him and goes, "Coach, go coach." And I thought about that, and I was like, how many times are we, that we hire people, and we're sitting across from a table, they're in a suit and tie, and the last time they wore that suit and tie was probably, unfortunately, either at a wedding or a funeral, okay, because they don't wear a suit and tie. And that's why when I was interviewed, I said, just dress normal, just dress, so because you get to know people. And he went out there and coached those DBs. Obviously, he didn't get the job, but it just made me think about, like, how many times do we actually tell a coach, go coach them? And I know it's difficult at the high school level. We got obviously different rules we have to follow. But, I took advantage of that hiring practice that my buddy went through, and we had one of our schools release their head football coach. So we targeted some candidates that we thought were interesting. And one of the coaches that we were interested in, his team was actually in the football playoffs. So we went and watched him coach. And I told people, I said, look, we're not here to him to hope that they win 80-0 or whatever. I said, let's watch his demeanor. If they're winning, let's watch him. If he's losing, let's see how the kids respond to him. Don't worry about the game, because I kind of knew how the game was going to turn out. This coach was at a school that traditionally wasn't in the playoffs. So for them to be in the playoffs was a major accomplishment, but they just got, they were the 8th seed in, and when you're 8, you're playing 1. So I kind of knew the outcome, but it was great to go see them in their element and watch them actually do the job. And if you can do that, obviously it's great. But, when you're hiring someone, find someone that has coached against them or has been a visiting AD to their school, because you'll find a lot about, the people you're hiring.
Yeah, I was just going back through all the many, many interviews that I sat through myself, and as well as conducted as an AD. That would be just such a luxury that you're right. We don't get that too often, to be able to go watch them in action with kids, with their assistants, or with parents, because in the interview, they've got the tie on, it's best behavior. They're reading out of their manual, which I just hate those manuals. But yeah, that would have been great to go out and be able to watch them in action. I remember 100 years ago, I interviewed for a position, head football position. And they wanted you to submit like a 10-minute video. And this was like at the dawn of, VCRs, of you
Editing
teaching.
a little more difficult.
Yeah. How would you teach, your offense or something like that? And it was a good exercise. I enjoyed doing it. Didn't get the job, but I still remember that. Anything else in your tip box, real quickly for one of our listeners about something that's worked for you in that interview process?
Trying to, ask unique questions. One of the questions I like to ask is if you were in a rock band, imagine this, you're hiring a football coach or you're hiring an athletic director. And the question comes, if you were in a rock band, what position in that band would you be? And obviously you're going to hear lead singer or the drummer, and it just gives you an idea on their personality. When and there is no right or wrong answer. It's just their personality. For me, I'd like to say for the entire athletic department in Polk County, I'm the drummer. I'm keeping the beat. I'm keeping everything moving. I have the people out in front that need to be visible, need to be the leaders in their specific communities. Because when you got 20 high schools, those people need to be out front, but I need to be in the background, pushing them, keeping the beat going, keeping everything moving smoothly. It's just interesting to hear what they say when you ask that question. It's a great question. If you were in a rock band, which position would you be in? And of course, just like everything else as an athletic director, I stole that. So thank you, Daryl Nance, for that question from Daryl. But it's just a great idea to get to gauge someone's personality.
I love it. That's very cool. I'm trying to think what I would really want to be and what I might say in that interview. But yeah, obviously you got to stay away from lead guitar or lead singer. That's not a good one.
Yeah. And if you're the head football coach, you may say, that I want to be the lead singer. I'm the face of the program. I want to be out front. I want to be leading, but my band could be on cue, but if I'm not, it's not going to sound good either. So, I guess it really depends on the position, but, really, try not to ask the standard questions, I guess, so what are some positive and negatives of, or tell me why, or this and that, but, really try to gauge their personality. And I was fortunate enough where there was one female athletic director that I was interviewing for my position, and her and I, our first encounter was obviously email, then text. And then we met off of I-95 in Daytona Beach for our first initial interview for her and I just to sit down and have lunch. I said, look, don't dress up, don't do that. Just come normal. Let's just have a normal conversation. And then when we ended up interviewing, I said, look, I don't need you to come to the interview. Let's do it via Zoom. There's no point for you to drive back down. I'll explain to the interview committee that you and I already had lunch on, in Daytona. You were passing through, I was driving home. So let's, meet, but just doing different unique things to just get a gauge on, what type of person you're hiring.
Yeah, absolutely. Those types of informal meetings can be much more revealing than that official sitting in the boardroom with 12 other people asking their canned, program questions.
Yeah.
Very good stuff. Dan, if one of our listeners wants to reach out, find out a little bit more about how y'all do things in Polk County, what's the best way they can get a hold of you?
Feel free to give me a call or a text on my cell phone, 863-661-0647. Again, 863-661-0647.
Thanks, Dan. I know we're into week 3 now of fall practices. School's going to be starting soon. All the best to you and your schools as you kick off the 2022-23 school year.
Kickoff classics are here, so it is upon us. So
for our listeners, we do this every Thursday. Dan Talbot and Team Building Tips, just about every day for the Educational AD podcast. Also want to remind you that the Zoom recordings of these interviews get uploaded to our YouTube channel. Appreciate you listening today. Come back next week for more team building tips, and everybody have a great fall season. Once again, we want to thank the sponsors that help make this possible. I want to say thanks to Final Forms, the industry leader in registration. Go to finalforms.com/Jake and find out how they can help you with things like eligibility, with rosters, with coach certification management. They can help parents with policies and physicals. Go to finalforms.com/Jake for more information. Also want to say thanks to Wall of Fame by Vital Signs. They're on a mission to help bring your school's legacy to life. Their interactive touchscreen consoles can serve as a record board for all of your sports. They can also serve as a hall of fame for your school. Let them help you showcase your school's proudest moments. Go to vitalsignswalloffame.com, or you can email them at sales@vitalsignswalloffame.com. Also want to say thanks to Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack. We use surveys for everything at the schools I was at, for coaches, for parents, for teachers, and for kids. And the information that came back was almost always overwhelmingly positive, but they also allowed that squeaky wheel parent to vent, and also sometimes revealed a small issue that I was able to address quickly and keep it from turning into a big issue because I didn't know about it because I hadn't done a survey. Go to Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack. Send them an email at info@athleticsurveys.com to get started. Also want to say thanks to Hometown Ticketing. I never got a chance to use Hometown because digital ticketing was just taking off as I was retiring, but I have talked to hundreds of athletic directors around the country, and they all swear by Hometown's platform, their service, and the product that they deliver to your customers. Go to hometownticketing.com and find out how you can start using the Hometown Advantage. Also want to say thanks to Huddle. As a football coach, I used Huddle for years. As an athletic director, we were a Huddle school. Go to huddle.com, find out how you can start using their smart cameras, their analytics, and all of their online tools. That's huddle.com. Want to say thanks to Gipper. I use Gipper for the podcast. You can use Gipper to create custom branded content for your school's social media channels. It's what the kids want to see. Go to Gipper.com, check out their templates, and start creating world-class content for your school. We also want to say thank you to Sideline Interactive. Our school is one of the first in Florida to have a Sideline Interactive indoor scoring table, video scoring table, and it's just fantastic. We use it for games, but we also use it for pep rallies, for signing ceremonies. Tremendously versatile, and you can put it to work for you today. Go to sidelineinteractive.com, shoot them an email at sales@sidelineinteractive.com for more information. And we want to say thanks to SnapRaise. Go to snapraise.com and check out their fundraising platform. Our coaches use SnapRaise, and it's fantastic. As an athletic director, I knew about it, but I wasn't involved with it. It worked. It was easy, and helped our program raise thousands of dollars, and it can do the same for you. Go to snapraise.com and start raising money for your school's athletic program. Thanks again for listening to the Team Building Tips segment on the Educational AD podcast. We'll see you next Thursday for another team building tip, and just about every day on the Educational AD podcast. Thanks.